Dune, Frank Herbert's timeless masterpiece. In the vast cosmos, amidst countless planets, one world holds the key to the universe's greatest resource, Arrakis. This desolate desert planet is home to the most valuable substance in existence, melange, or spice. Essential for space travel, spice extends life, enhances cognitive abilities, and fuels the ambitions of emperors, noble houses, and interstellar corporations. However, control over this precious resource has led to endless political intrigue, conspiracies, and brutal warfare. By imperial decree, the powerful House Atreides is assigned to rule Arrakis, replacing the cruel and oppressive House Harkonnen. Duke Leto Atreides, his concubine Lady Jessica, and their son Paul Atreides arrive on the planet, unaware that their destiny is about to be entwined with that of the mysterious desert-dwelling Freeman. As Paul steps onto the scorching sands of Arrakis, he embarks on a journey that will forever alter the fate of the universe, one that leads him to visions of an uncertain, perilous future. The Dune saga, written by Frank Herbert, is one of the most celebrated works in science fiction history. In 2021, visionary director Denis Villeneuve successfully adapted the novel into a grand cinematic spectacle, finally delivering an adaptation worthy of Herbert's complex world. The film was met with critical and audience acclaim, reigniting global interest in the Dune universe. The highly anticipated sequel, Dune, Part 2, is set to release soon, concluding the story that began in the first film. While we await its arrival, let us journey into the origins of Dune, its inspirations, themes, and the fascinating legacy it has left behind. The story behind writing Dune. The seeds of Dune were planted in the late 1950s when Frank Herbert embarked on a research project in Oregon. The U.S. Department of Agriculture had initiated an experimental program to stabilize shifting sand dunes using specialized vegetation. This effort aimed to prevent destructive sandstorms that threatened infrastructure, rivers, and human settlements. Initially, Herbert set out to write a simple magazine article on the subject, titled "They Stopped the Moving Sands." However, as he delved deeper, he became increasingly fascinated with the concept of desert ecosystems, self-sustaining environments, and humanity's role in shaping nature. What began as a research paper soon evolved into a visionary sci-fi epic. Over the next 6 years, Herbert meticulously crafted Dune, infusing it with ecological, political, and philosophical depth rarely seen in science fiction. Unlike most sci-fi stories of the time, which focused on technology and space exploration, Dune explored the delicate balance between nature and human civilization. The novel's world-building was so detailed that it felt like a real, lived-in universe, shaped by centuries of history, culture, and struggle. Politics, religion, and power in Dune. At its core, Dune is a tale of power, its seduction, its corruption, and its consequences. Frank Herbert, having worked as a speechwriter for a U.S. senator during the height of McCarthyism, had a deep understanding of political manipulation and ideological warfare. He saw firsthand how leaders could exploit fear, faith, and propaganda to control the masses. These themes became central to Dune. The danger of charismatic leaders. Paul Atreides is often misunderstood as a typical hero. However, Herbert's intention was not to glorify him but to issue a warning. Paul is a product of centuries of genetic engineering, political maneuvering, and religious myth-making. His rise to power as the prophesied Muad'Dib is not just destiny. It is the result of the Bene Gesserit manipulating history to create a superhuman ruler. Through Paul, Herbert warns against blindly following messianic leaders. The Freemen, desperate for liberation, elevate Paul to divine status, ultimately unleashing a holy war that spans the universe. This mirrors real-world historical events where religious or political fervor has led to devastating conflicts. Religion as a tool of control. One of the most striking aspects of Dune is its portrayal of religion as both a unifying force and a means of control. The Bene Gesserit, an ancient sisterhood of women trained in political influence, biological science, and psychological manipulation, seed religious prophecies across the galaxy. These fabricated myths ensure that when their chosen leader arrives, the people will already believe in him. The Freemen's belief in the prophecy of Lisan ul-Gaib, a savior who will lead them to paradise, is not an organic faith. It was planted by the Bene Gesserit long before Paul's arrival. Through this, Herbert explores how organized religion can be engineered to serve political agendas. Dune, capitalism, and imperialism. The economic themes in Dune are just as relevant today as they were when the book was written. The struggle for spice mirrors the real-world battles over oil, minerals, and other natural resources. The great houses, much like real-world superpowers, exploit Arrakis without concern for its indigenous population. The freemen, who have lived on Arrakis for generations, understand how to survive in the desert. However, their knowledge and autonomy are disregarded by the ruling powers, who see them only as obstacles to profit. This dynamic echoes the history of colonialism, where indigenous people were often marginalized in the pursuit of wealth. The parallels between Dune and global politics are unmistakable. The spice trade, much like the oil industry, drives wars, assassinations, and political coups. In Dune, as in reality, wealth and power are often concentrated in the hands of a few, while the oppressed must struggle to reclaim their autonomy. Dune and environmentalism. Herbert's ecological vision was decades ahead of its time. In Dune, Arrakis is a world of extreme scarcity, where water is more valuable than gold. The Freemen have developed highly efficient water conservation methods, including the stillsuit, a bodysuit that recycles sweat and bodily fluids to preserve hydration. This focus on sustainability reflects Herbert's own concerns about environmental destruction. Long before climate change became a global crisis, he warned of humanity's reckless exploitation of natural resources. The struggle to terraform Arrakis and make it a green world parallels our own efforts to combat deforestation, pollution, and global warming. Herbert's message is clear: if we continue to exploit our environment without regard for balance, we may face a future as harsh and unforgiving as Arrakis itself. The lasting legacy of Dune. Few works of fiction have had the cultural impact of Dune. Its influence can be seen in Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and countless other sci-fi and fantasy epics. However, what truly sets Dune apart is its intellectual depth. Herbert was not merely telling a story, he was making a statement about power, survival, and the future of civilization. He challenges readers to question their leaders, their beliefs, and their impact on the world around them. Even today, nearly 60 years after its publication, Dune remains as relevant as ever. Whether discussing political corruption, religious fanaticism, economic inequality, or climate change, Herbert's warnings still resonate. His masterpiece is not just a novel, it is a lens through which we can examine our own world.